Wake up in the morning, crank that 18-wheeler. Heck, they hit my phone, I'm going in his direction. He say he out the game, he left it up to me. Gave me a road map and spots overseas.
How I got into the trucking industry, the quickest way I could think of to answer that question would be, where I'm from, it's like they have like the little small local schools, like the colleges, the technical colleges, and they provide truck driving training. That's one way you can go about doing it. That's the way I went about doing it. It's a 9-week course. You go there, they pretty much teach you how to drive a truck, and then if you pass your test, you get your CDL at the DMV, just like you would if you was going to try to get your driver's license when you're a teenager and you want to get your first car and get your license. It's pretty much the same thing, except for when you get your CDL, it's a 9 weeks course at the particular school I went to. And at that school I went to, they teach you pretty much, they make it hard for you while you're at the school. So example, like they teach you how to back up I think like 500 yards, where when you go take your test, you're only going to back up 100 yards. They don't tell you that, but when you get to the test, it's like you've been practicing doing this 500 yards back up for like the last couple weeks. It's like to do 100 is nothing, so they kind of make it more advanced to make it more easy for when you actually go take your test. So that's one thing that I actually thought was pretty cool, and I didn't know, because when I got to the test, I was like, she's like, back up 100 feet or whatever. Backed up, it was like, hey, all right, go do this, go do that, and it was just really easy from how they taught us at school, because I guess they want us to be pretty much skillful. So, but most other people that I know, they usually just they'll go whatever job. Let's say they like a place like Swift or whoever, and they have their own truck driving training classes where you can go to school for them. I think it's like you go to school with them. It's like 3 weeks, and after the 3 weeks, you pass your test. They hire you and you work for them. There's a downside to that too, because even though they tell you that the school is free, it's not really free. They taking that money out your checks when you start working for them, and you have to work for them for like 2 years in order to get reimbursed that bread. So it's almost like you go to school with them, and then they start paying you like peanuts to drive for them, and it's like you almost a slave to them almost. You can't really get out of that. You probably ways of getting out. I know some people that have, but you have to talk to them to figure out how they did what they did. But it's like, in 3 weeks, I don't think it's long enough. Well, I can't speak for anybody else. 3 weeks wasn't long enough for me. Those 9 weeks was short enough as it was to learn how to actually drive a truck the proper way. But most people are probably quick learners. They probably could go do the 3 week thing and get their CDL and go work for that company. But that's kind of how I did. I got into it that way. I went to the technical college, and from that point on, I got my CDL and went on and tried to find a job. And that's kind of how I did that. And that was around 2010 when I did that. Why trucking? Trucking, I don't know. I've always just wanted to be a truck driver. Even when I was like 3-4 years old, I have an uncle that drove, and I remember he used to come by the house, and my mom was like, "Yeah, Uncle Ray drives those big trucks." So now, when I used to be on the road and I see those big trucks as a kid, I knew that was something. It looked like it could be fun to be in something so big. So you know what I mean. And I think that's around the time they had that movie, Ventures of the Babysitters something. Ventures of the Babysitter thing, that movie that came out back in those days, and I remember seeing that movie and that truck driver, and I don't know, I just really been into trucking, and I don't know, I just like been trucking, and like my uncle, and then it seemed like my uncle, it seemed like he lived a pretty decent life for him, and my cousins and my aunt, they seemed like they had a nice living, so I was like, yeah man, I'm gonna do that, because I know that I found out that you don't have to go to school forever. Like you can just go to school real quick, get your certificate, and you can get to work and start making money. Because I always knew that school wasn't for me, and there's nothing, you know what I mean. So that's pretty much why I chose to get in trucking. Pretty much that's why I did it. Because like I said, I had an uncle that did it, and it seemed like a easy way to get in something, to be able to make some quick money, to kind of start your life or whatever. So that's kind of how I chose to go that route. The first time I ever was in a truck or even drove a truck, I was 18 years old. And what happened was I went to trucking school right out of high school. And yeah, so that's the first time I ever drove a truck. I was 18 years old, and back in 2004. I was 18 in 2004. So yeah, that's the first time I ever drove a truck. Well, actually, that first time I went to trucking school, it was the same course I went to. What happened was, I was like I said, I was 18, so you know how most 18 years old. Not all of them. There's some smart ones nowadays, but back then I wasn't a smart 18-year-old. I was like a real 18-year-old that was into 18-year-old type things. Like meaning, like I just wanted to go to school, get me a quick, get me some quick money, and be able to put some rims on my. I had a box Chevy at the time, so during that time, biggest rims you can get, I think, might have been like some 22, 23s, and I was able to come across some 22s, put on my car, and that's all I wanted to do. So I was distracted, and I just wanted to have fun, man. You know, so I wasn't ready to be out down that road anyway. So what happened was, I didn't pay attention in school when I was in trucking school, and I got time to take my test to get my CDL. I failed my test twice, and that really discouraged me. And I just did like I normally do on things. When something gets hard for me, I normally just give up and walk away, and that's what I did. So I did that, and I didn't get my license for my CDL until 6 years later from that point. So, you know, it took me 6 years to really get it together and get my life in order to really understand, I guess, what I had missed. But I'm glad I got all that out of my system, because it's pretty much made me who I am today. I started a little later than I guess I want to now, looking back, but it's pretty much prepared me to be the man that I am today, and I can explain that a little bit later if you want to know about that. I guess what I mean was, from that time, from 2004 to 2010, that's a 6 year stretch, whatever, right? So let's say 2004, 2005, I'm still trying to figure things out. I'm young. I don't quit on trucking school. And at that time, trucking school probably cost about $550. So that was my mama's money. She paid for me, and like the lottery in South Carolina pays portion of that. So it's probably more like $1,200, and then you pay, that your portion, which is $550. So my mom paid $550 for me to go to school and for me to like kind of give up on it. So it was that, is that you have that. So what I did to occupy my time after that was, like, I had my car and I had my friends and stuff, and I was already working at Zaxby's. So I worked at Zaxby's for a long time, from like 2003 to 2007, along with actually getting a job at a trucking company where my uncle got me a job being a greeter, because he's been driving at this company for I don't know how many years now, maybe since '88. So I don't know. He's been driving this company 31 years, I guess, 30 years now. But anyway, he got me a job there. So he got me a job being a greeter, and a greeter is pretty much, if you ever been to any kind of like trucking company or something, they always have a person at the guard shack. And that's what a greeter is. The greeter pretty much tells the truck driver where to park that trailer or where to go and check in at. So that's what I did. I made $10 an hour. You work 20 hours a week, so I was making like $200 a week. And I was also working at Zaxby's, and I was killing myself at Zaxby's, working like 70 hours like crazy, just to be able to make $700 checks every 2 weeks. So that's $1,400 from Zaxby's every month, and that's $800 from the other place. So I'm making around like $2,000 a month, and then when you take taxes out of all of that, you're probably only really making $1,500 to $1,000 a month. So that's what I was living on throughout those years. But that was the most money I had seen at the time. So I never really made a lot of money. I never made decent money or a lot of money until, man, I guess a couple years ago, because I've always not made a lot of money. But the difference between me and people that did make more money than I did, I've always been great at managing money, because my mom's the same way. She's never made a lot of money, but she's like a pro at managing money, stretching money, and being able to like not buy dumb things that you can't use. So I learned that from her. Just by pretty much watching her. She never like sit down and say, you should do this, you should do that. I just always watched her do that, so I just thought that was a way of life. My grandpa's the same way as well. He knows how to stretch a dollar. So I learned that from them. So so pretty much people always have thought that I made a lot of money, or they thought I just had money, but what it was, I just knew how to manage it, I knew how to save it, and I was always good at saving money. So I was always doing that. That's why I was working 2 jobs when I really didn't have to, but I was working those 2 jobs as if like I just really needed to do it. I mean, I didn't have any real bills. I had like little things like my insurance, my cell phone bill, and whatever. Had those little things, but pretty much I didn't really have a lot of bills. So the little money I was making, I was able just to save. So that's all I did was save money, because I pretty much was saving for car things and for my dates when I go out with girlfriends or whatever at the time. So that's pretty much what I save bread for, just be able to have money. Cause one thing I ain't want to be a dude that didn't look like didn't have no bread. Or when I go somewhere, I go to a restaurant, you gotta look at the menu and figure out how much such and such costs. I didn't ever have to do that. That bill was $100 was nothing. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I always wanted that feeling. It feels good. I mean, y'all understand it. It feels good when when you got money in your pocket. When you got money in your pocket, I mean, there's no greater feeling. That's probably greater feelings. I don't know. I don't know when I know that my money's straight, it's really good. When money ain't straight, it don't feel good. You want to be mad at everybody. So that's kind of how things went with that. If you kind of know what I'm saying. I don't know if I answered the question right or not. I worked those two jobs like a year and a half, something like that, maybe 18 months or something. What happened was I ended up getting a driving job. I didn't. I actually getting a driver job driving for this company called DHL. If you ever heard of DHL, it's a courier company. The courier company drives those yellow vans. They're kind of like FedEx or UPS, but they in like these little yellow vans and you just go around to different houses and deliver packages. So I started doing that, and I did that from I got that job around summer 2007, and I did that, and I kind of like, and back on mine, I'm like, yeah, this can make up for me quitting trucking school, and I can just do this, and I can justify, my reasoning, which make me feel a little bit better. But that little bit better thing I was trying to do didn't last long, right? So I would be like driving around, and it's like I would see truckers, and I see truck. It's just I don't know. It always ate me inside that I didn't finish being a truck driver. So I'm driving around those vans every day doing that job, and that job I made like $450, $500 a week. So still, about the same money I was making working those two jobs, but it just wasn't working two jobs. They would do it making one job. So, and it was still, like I said, the most money I had seen. So I did that for maybe a year until I got laid off. So I ended up getting laid off. So I started working with summer 2000, like July 2007, and I got laid off October November 2008. Yeah, I got laid off because there was that during that time when everybody was getting laid off. Like everybody that was in the house, like me, my mom, Donnell, everybody I knew was getting laid off. Everywhere, all my friends, like everyone was getting laid off. It was the recession time. Everybody was getting laid off. Nobody was stressed out or nothing like that. Everybody was good. So it just kind of got laid off. They was like, I remember the guy came in. He's like, yeah. You said you was thinking about going back to school, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just give you the pink, lay me out. But I was like, my mind kind of shot me. But then I was like, I mean, he's right though, man. I don't want to be here the rest of my life. I need to figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. So, and that's what I did. I took that time just to relax. I didn't go off looking for no job. I left, and I was just trying to really figure out what I was gonna do. And I didn't really understand how the unemployment thing worked because it's the first time I ever was unemployed, and I don't know, didn't know how this thing worked. I didn't know like I didn't know that they send you like a check for like not working or something. So it was kind of weird. So I started getting my unemployment or whatever like that. I did, I probably was unemployed for I think I was unemployed for 18 months until I started working again. So yeah, I was unemployed for 18 months. So I was collecting those $283 checks every week. And yeah, that's what I did. Kind of like took advantage of that government, I guess. Well, what happened was they had job opportunities and stuff like that. So I remember I was it's like this place called the Chicken Farm around there. I don't even know what it's really called. Maybe Columbia Farm. It's down in Taylor's or Greenwood, South Carolina. And if anybody's from those areas, y'all know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I was thinking my unemployment's getting ready to run out. So like, yeah, I'm gonna have to do something to get some bread to come in just in case this thing run out. So I went down there, applied for the job, and like they called me the same day. So come in the next day for an interview. So I went up there for the interview, and gave me the job. But then I started just thinking about other people I know that worked there and talking about how bad it was, and it was like it was just gonna make it just a little bit more of my unemployment, and also if you work nights, you could probably make a little bit more than that. But I wasn't about to work no nights. But what happened was I just started looking around. And I was like, man, I just like left. I was like, nah, I can't do it. So I left out of there. I just kept collecting those checks a little bit more longer because I figured I was going to eventually figure it out. But being at that place, man, was crazy. Like I remember being at the interview, and they trick you at the interview, right? So they have you come up, and they have you go upstairs, and they hit you with a drug test on the spot there. And like I don't do drugs, I don't smoke, drink, do none of that stuff. But it's people there that did, and if you got the job, then they take you to another room. If you don't, they hit you with you failed this drug test. If you don't know you're taking a drug test, you think you're gonna do something else. But it was just crazy seeing that because the lady tried to like she kind of figured what was going on. She tried to dip out, but she couldn't. But it was just crazy there. But that place, I mean, that place will hire anybody because their turnover was crazy. So there was times where like I would just apply just to see if I get a call, and every time I applied, they call. So I know if they call you, you're gonna get the job as long as you pass the drug test. So I was like, worst case scenario, and I don't end up being able to land something, I'll apply here, and if that don't work, I'll figure it out from there. But right now, I'm just keep collecting these checks and just really figure out what I'm gonna do with my life. Because at the time, well, I'll tell you, like, yeah, at the time, what I started doing was I started studying for the Air Force because I knew like it was always an option. I always heard Air Force is kind of cool and easy and a lot easier than all the other stuff. But that's not what I really wanted to do. But it was like a good plan B for me. What I really want to do is go back to school and get my CDL and become a truck driver. Like that's what I really wanted to do. I felt like a failure because I didn't get it. I didn't do it the first time. I wanted to play and play that type of stuff. But what ended up happening was all around the same time I had them start going to this church and I started believing in this pastor, man. It's almost like a father figure to me, Bishop Geddes Jackson. He started preaching about going back to school and finishing things that you didn't finish and all this stuff. And like just about, man, I believed in everything he was saying. So man, I went back to school and like I cut all my friends off because I didn't want to be distracted. Like I was just on my own at school, focused, studying every day. And even before I even like went to sign up for school, I started watching every single trucking film that you can think of. I'm talking about like movies like Smokey and the Bandit, Convoy, whatever it's called. On any movie that had something with a truck in it, just to get the inspiration. So I did that for the longest, and like that's kind of how that's kind of what happened. I got inspired, and that's kind of what people can do. I do that now. Like when I want to get inspired about something, I just go deep dive, watch videos, watch anything that's gonna get me that feel. And then when I got finished watching all the trucking videos, I started watching stuff like Rambo and all these just movies that's just of aggression and somebody going in to run through that wall to get what they need to get to. And that's what I did. And then when I went to school, man, I had that same ambition. Went to that school and I slaughtered it this time. I killed it. Went in there, got perfect score on my pre-trip, did the driving test perfect, like skill test perfect. Man, I got those licenses, man, you couldn't tell me nothing. So that's what happened. Like, man, I was the happiest moment, still to this day, happiest moment of my life is when that lady says you passed and gave me that license and had my face on it. And I don't know, man, like, I ain't no crying type of cat, but I almost, like, shed one that day. But I took a picture of my phone, sent it to everybody that was important to me. So, most likely, if you're watching this video and you got that picture from me, you know what I'm saying, you kind of know where you stood at, you know what I'm saying. So, I mean, everybody know I still pretty much communicate with those same people today. So that's what happened, and that's pretty much like how it all kind of really got going and started to what it is now.